Hello, welcome to Vlogmas Day 25. Today's going to be a little different. I figured I would talk to you guys about 5 of my favorite TV shows. So, the first one of those would be Buffy, the Vampire Slayer. Love the show. Seen every episode probably at least 3 or 4 times. A lot of different reasons to like this show. One, that has a very strong female lead character, and she's a complete and total badass, saving the world one week at a time. But the writing is phenomenal. There's lots of different issues that they deal with. It's not just vampires. It's some of the episodes deal with the hard stuff. Like there's one episode that deals with a pretty major death from one of the main characters on the show. There's another episode, in my opinion, that gives us the scariest villain ever, and the majority, I think, with the exception of 3 or 4 minutes, it's a completely silent episode, so there's no spoken word except for those 3 or 4 minutes. And it's called Hush, and it gives us the Gentlemen, which I think are the scariest villains, I think, on that show. It's got redeeming qualities, because where certain characters start off as villains, then they make this journey and they end up being the good guys. So I just love the show. I love to watch episodes. I love to try to get Joey to watch them. He likes it. He likes it, but it's not his favorite show. But that's okay. And if you've not seen it, see if you can watch it. It's good. Second show I like is Friends. All 6 of the Friends. I've even got the pop figures for all the Friends. Really funny show. It touches on so many levels, and there's something about, I can be having the worst day possible. I could be having, the day from hell, and put in a few episodes of Friends, and I forget all about the day. I'm laughing. It's just, I don't know. I think everybody can relate to it, because everybody wants those kind of friends. I don't know that I can say that I've ever had those kind of friends, but it would be nice. And there's some funny moments. Then there's some annoying moments. I think if I had to pick my least favorite character, it would probably be Ross. My absolute favorite would be Joey. He's just, there's something about him that's just funny, and it's a really good show too. It went for 10 seasons, so they had to be doing something right. Next show that I love to watch, it's off the air now also, but Parenthood. It was originally based off of the movie Parenthood with Steve Martin, but it just tells of the mother and the father, and then all of their grandkids and all of their kids, and it's just a very heartwarming show. I don't think I watched a single episode of it without crying. It's very emotional. It does pull on the heartstrings a little bit, and they just come together every week for a family dinner and talk about what's going on in their lives, and talks about hardships. And I think I liked it because it wasn't afraid to tackle the hard subjects. There was one of the characters that had cancer, and it went through the whole process of that, and that character thought they were going to die, and they would be leaving children behind, and it dealt with that, and it was just very emotional, but it's a very, very good show. I would highly recommend it. Let's see, the next show would be 6 Feet Under. You may have heard about that one. It was a family that lived in a funeral home, and I think that it was a groundbreaking show at the time. It was not afraid to, I guess you could say it was not afraid to stare death in the face. And sometimes it was very gruesome, and I remember each episode would open with somebody's death, and then it would show how the family would come together to continue running the business. There was an organization that wanted to buy the business from them, and it showed their lives as they tried to balance their personal lives with their professional life. But it was a really good show, and the characters you got to watch over the seasons how they developed and how they grew, and it was just, I liked it a lot. And Frances McDormand was in it, and she I love to watch her anyway, but there's a couple of really great scenes with her, and a lot of good episodes with her, and I just think it was really cool because it showed how she went from, being the grieving widow to how she started exploring dating and her sexuality again, and to show somebody in their mid-50s or early 60s as a sexual being was just kind of interesting and groundbreaking at the time. And it was a really good show, and it has a lot of good actors in it, so if you get a chance, check that one out. And the last one I'm going to tell you about is Queer as Folk. That it was very groundbreaking at the time. I think that the only time that they ever really portrayed gay people at that time was like as the quirky, uber feminine kind of gay best friend role, which, there's so much more than that. It was not afraid whatsoever to tackle taboo issues. It very much, can see why it was on one of the cable channels. It was very, very graphic, had a lot of nudity, but the story development, the close knit group of friends, and the self-discovery, the issues, they didn't shy away from bad issues either. They had people with addiction issues. They've had people with HIV and AIDS, but it portrayed it in such a way that it shows the truth of it. It didn't try to sugarcoat anything. It showed the good days and the bad days, because I've had friends that have HIV or AIDS, and they do have good days and bad days. It's not all just like a death sentence. It is kind of what you make it, but I like that they didn't back away from that. They dealt with how parents deal with someone coming out in the family. It dealt with acceptance of parents. It dealt with what will other people think of me. It dealt with insecurities. It just, so many different aspects. And there was even a relationship with one person that had HIV and one person that was negative, and the issues and the struggles that they faced. But it's a really, really great show. It was very well written. It's still one of my favorites. I go back, and the funny thing is, now that I'm getting older, I can see myself in each one of the characters. I can see like different aspects and different characteristics of myself all rolled into one person, but different characteristics from each one. So, but it's a really good show. And then I would say on the flip side of that, there's another show called The L Word. It's very similar, but instead of dealing with a lot of gay men, it deals with the lesbian side, and it's very well written. And in some ways, I'll probably get flack for that, but in some ways I think that it was better written than Queer as Folk. It was a very good show, and the characters, same thing with the characters. They weren't afraid to shy away from, you know, taboo topics. They dealt with, like, raising a child, two lesbians raising a child. There's the one that's, you know, just like in Queer as Folk. There's the female version of Brian Kenny, and her name was Shane, and she's just like sleeps around a lot, does what she wants to do. She's no apologies, and it shows what happens when she actually falls in love. And it's just that's a good show also. So those are just a few of my favorite shows. So I'd like to hear from you. Have you seen any of these shows? Do you like these shows too? What are your favorite shows? Maybe if it's something I haven't seen, maybe I can check them out too. So I know this vlog was kind of different. So, but hopefully you enjoyed it. If you do, give us a thumbs up. If you didn't, I'm very sorry. But like we say, you can jump off a bridge, or you can find something else on YouTube. YouTube is a really big resource, so I'm sure you can find something you like. But, you know, be kind to each other. Life is short, you know. Live it up, enjoy, but be kind to each other. And until next time, have a magical evening. Bye.